Good morning, everybody, and this is your SP 500 day trade setups for today. So I'm still very concerned about picking a direction here, to be honest. This is looking more and more like a wedge. I suppose we could argue rather a channel. So let's just get this level in. That is the next most logical level that I can see. That's going to have some kind of impact. They may ambush us at this area here, but apart from that, there's nothing really else. And the next levels are kind of right there. So I think for now, just going to ignore the bottom channel because it depends how you look at it. And let's just put the horizontal in, and I'll explain now why. So first picture here is, remember we said yesterday there was a head and shoulders picture. There's also an bigger inverse head and shoulders picture. But at the moment, this is a head and shoulders or flat bottom triangle that has broken. So I would expect it to move to the downside. Now, the target to the downside is 395, which is probably not going to line up as much. That's going to be the closest. So this 44.62 is the target of this triangle slash head and shoulders. If you look at the oscillators, they have separated, they are pointing to the downside, so definitely looking like it should be short at the moment from an intraday perspective, not so much from an 8-hour perspective. But then when you look at what's going on the 3-hour, you can see we have a fairly strong grouping here, and you need to watch this area for diversions. No diversions yet, but if the oscillator starts dropping below the lows here from week before last, you're going to get diversions. Okay, and that is the most significant, what I call it, the most swing down. Then you can also take this one here if you really want to, and there's already diversions there from that low to where we are currently. So there's no real movement. If you look at what happened yesterday was pretty much a boring day. Big down, big up, big down, big up, big down. The only thing that was happening was that we were forming a series of lower highs. So you can see the triangle there fairly clearly. You're looking for the head and shoulders. There's your shoulder, there's your head, and there's your big right shoulder. So oscillators group the downside at the moment. We haven't broken through here with much vigor. We are in between the moving averages now. So I'm very, very cautious at the moment. We are also just on the 150 EMA right now. So from my perspective right now, we need to be very, very cautious. This can go either way. The dollar is on a tear at the moment, which explains why the indexes are falling. But when you look at the data is really not that bad at the moment. So it doesn't make logical sense. And that's why you see this big up and big down, because there's just so much confusion. So for now, the trend is down. You need to pay attention to all these little micro levels above you. Those are the two at the moment, so let's just put this bottom one in as well, because that's going to impact the price. Oh, and we need to put this one in as well. There we go. Right, so what we're looking for is a rejection of 4,500. So we are below 4,500 now. Remember, that is a big, big area of support. So if we're going to flip that into resistance, we want to see a decent rejection of that, and then it is short, and your target is 44.86. Longs technically should only come into play above the high of yesterday. However, keep this diagonal trend line in, because if you do get back into the zone, you can see the chaos of the selling that was happening yesterday. You'd have to break through that and come up and find support. So At the moment, it's above the highs of yesterday, but as the day goes on, this trend line obviously slopes, so then the trend line becomes the area you need to pay attention to. So a little bit cautious. I think by the looks of things, 44.86 is our magnet. And if you just scroll to the left, you'll notice there are gaps further down. So I would put that level in as well. There's a little gap here, but nothing else. Is that a gap? That is a gap. Probably about half a point gap. So there's a tiny little gap here with a pin bar. So that pin bar does make sense. And that is at, if the chart will work, 44.76. Just drop this down. And 44.86, 44.76 further down. So that's kind of the view. Really messy where we are now, but rejection of one of these levels, that's 4,500 would be the one I'd really take. Sort of a decent rejection of that. We haven't had one this morning. Just be wary of that. So I would expect that to be tested. I want a 50-minute rejection there, nothing less. If we get a 50-minute rejection there, then we are looking for a move down and stop just above the price action, and then you should be able to let it go for 44.86 at least. Take some off and leave a little bit on for 44.76. Okay. The other thing is, if this thing does fall down to this area, you need to wait for the pullback into this structure before you jump in short. Okay, anyway, that's kind of my view. Just be cautious. I wouldn't be betting the farm on this just yet. It could turn out that this is a flag, and if it is a flag, it could violently move to the upside, break this, come back, find support, and that's going to be your signal for the longs. So anyway, hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.